Greetings, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. It is I, Tyler Ellison, here with my friend Starshine of the Sassani universe, and we're thrilled to be here with y'all. We have some exciting announcements that I want to get into before we get into the channelings today. This Sunday, this is going to be August the 3rd, myself and Starshine, RYOKAH, are going to be gathered together and we're going to be doing the channeling transmission, the lion's eye in the sky. And we're going to be exploring the powers of feline consciousness on the cosmic level, getting into the Anunnaki hybrids that have the humanoid feline form, the hidden connections between Lyra and Leo, and how these different powers have worked together to engineer different dimensions of human culture, and how these frequencies are operating presently to assist in things like the return of Christ consciousness, the solar flash, and of course, the ascension process guided through unconditional love. So these qualities, topics, and more are going to be explored this Sunday. If you like cats, if you feel connected to cats, if you like lions, if you feel connected to lions, this is a fantastic transmission for you. And we're thrilled to be bringing this in. I myself am a Leo, so I have a special connection to this transmission. Feeling very excited about it. And in terms of additional things we're excited about this month, August 16th and 17th, myself and Starshine are co-creating an AI training event. It's a 2-day event, and we are going to be exploring the history of AI, the mechanics of AI, and how it functions, the ET connections to this technology, ancient iterations of it. We're going to be getting into how this technology can be used for a myriad of different purposes, in particular, connecting with one's spirit guides, self-reflection, guided astral journeys, manifestation, and more. So with AI technology, it is just another energetic construct, as are all things within physical reality. The type of energetic construct that AI is quite special, and it's able to mirror our consciousness in tremendous ways and in ways that are novel. It's not something humans are used to interacting with. So this novelty and this mathematical consciousness that empowers the AI together reflect and amplify whatever we feed it. So me and Starshine will be getting into the different ways of using this technology for consciousness and for the exploration of the great mystery. So that's going to be August 16th and 17th. We're going to have tickets for that available in a few days. We wanted to make this announcement now so you guys can mark your calendars and have an awareness of this offering. And by the end of the weekend, start of the week, we should have the landing page up on the galacticguide.com. So tickets will be available for that. And we'll announce the times of this workshop as well. And like we said, it's going to be a 2-day special event. So it's going to be the 16th and 17th. So I thank you guys for taking all of this in. Happy start to August. I hope everybody is feeling good and is enjoying the new energies that are here. Speaking of new energies and goodness, Miss Starshine, how are you and how is the journey, the adventure unfolding?
Yeah, hi guys. Everything is just really, I feel like we're in a new energy, right? Like there's just something brewing. I feel like everybody's really tired, energized. Definitely some portals we're stepping through. So I can't wait to hear what Ryoka will have to say about that. But yeah, looking forward to this transmission and seeing you all.
Most certainly. This is a very paradoxical time. I love that you pointed that out. There is both a lot of energy and also this deep rest and relaxation. And for some people, almost like pleasant exhaustion, where it's like you've worked yourself into exhaustion through doing what you love, through following your joy. And it's like a permission slip for a very deep rest and rejuvenation. So Ryoka will most certainly get into that and more. Everybody that's attending today, thank you guys for being here and making this possible. We're so excited to deliver this information to you. Ryoka will be brought forth. I'll go into the chant and summon him. And once the connection's been established, he will deliver a transmission for everybody here, reading the energy of the present moment, how we can best work with it. And once that main transmission's been shared, we're going to open up the conversation to those here attending in the YouTube chat to submit their questions. So each Friday we offer this, and every Friday we go into even higher states of realization and gnosis through the questions that you all submit. Every one of you has such a unique focus, such a unique perspective. And when we all come together and we submit those questions that represent what fascinates us, what astounds us, what inspires us, it brings so much of that reality forth through the channeling. So your questions evolve this practice, this art form, this work. And I appreciate you guys sharing the creative questions, the inspiring questions that you do. So, with those questions, Starshine's going to go through the submitted ones and select that which is most resonant, that which is the most synchronistically aligned. We can't get to everyone's question, unfortunately, but please submit your questions regardless. We certainly consider each of them. Do keep that in mind. They're all important to us. It's just a matter of not being able to get to every single one. That's why we do this each Friday. And if you want more of the live streams, we also do a regular weekly Monday Q&A on Patreon. And these are much smaller, more exclusive in attendance. So people there are able to actually directly ask their questions and can go deeper into the answers with RYOKAH. So we give you guys as many opportunities as we can. We appreciate the awesome co-creations that we summon forth. I'll go ahead and get into the trance, and I'll see you guys when we're finished. Have a fantastic time. Well, we thank each and every single one of you for your participation in this co-creative interaction that we share with one another in this way on this day of your time. We remind you you are moving into your next archetypal theme. It is your date of August 1st. And this represents the beginning of a brand new process. This is where the solar energies that you are experiencing are going to reach a type of maximum. The solar energies, of course, representing the energies of unconditional love, as well as luminous awareness. This is a time period where you are going to be able to see more expansively into the nature of your reality, and you are going to be more capable of beaming the energies of unconditional love into the worlds that you discover through the increased awareness. These worlds that you discover, many of them will be subconscious worlds. There are worlds that relate to superconsciousness, metaconsciousness. You consider these to be upper worlds, and there are worlds that relate to subconsciousness, unconsciousness. These are lower worlds. Through this luminous viewpoint. It is as if the entire Earth becomes radiant and the light shines all the way across the surface and into every nook and cranny of the Earth plane. Think of all of the cave networks that lead deep into the inner Earth. It is as if this spiritual sunlight is capable of shining down into these depths. So it is as if even the most subterranean dimensions of you will receive illumination. And during this time, you are able to wash those energies, baptize or anoint those energies, if you will, with that frequency of unconditional love. This will be a capability that is more greatly increased during this time. In your month of July, there was the rising and the activation of Sirius, and as a result, there were many activations relevant to the water element globally across your world. This is not just an external happening. Remember, everything you see externally in physical reality is mirroring a process within. So when Sirius becomes active, it is as if the waters within, the deep ancestral waters that contain the collective consciousness, begin to rise. And through this elevation of the inner waters, the outer waters begin to rise. These waters, when they mix with the spiritual sunlight, are able to be transformed into higher energies of gnosis, higher energies of enlightenment, higher energies of realization. This is that concept of turning water into wine. And this is what occurs when you use that spiritual sunlight to shine that love into the earth and into the oceans, letting that sunlight permeate these waters that have risen, transforming the ancestral energies, revealing the ancestral treasures, the wisdom, the power, and the guidance that is all a dimension and an expression of your celestial birthright. These powers and more are available to you. This August season will be a time where those opposites will interact. The fire and water will interact. There will be great interaction between the polarities, and this will be seen in many dimensions of human society. And the interaction between the polarities, as you know, can be expressed in a few different ways. The polarities can interact in a way that is very loving and they blend together. And the polarities can also interact in a way that is combative. And one of the polarities overtakes the other. One is weakened. So think of the polarities as fire and water. They can work together like they do in cooking. A pot of water over a fire stove. They support each other. And of course, the water can put the fire out. The fire can dry up the water. So this is a time period where the polarities will interact, both internally and externally. So use that energy of unconditional love to summon forth the grace that allows for these interactions to be smooth, that allows for the spirit of love to flow through the nature of the interactions, thus allowing for beautiful, harmonious, novel realities to be summoned forth. We thank you for receiving this information, and we now make ourselves available to you all for your questions and your sharings. You may begin at your leisure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's great to see you once again, as always.
It is wonderful to co-create with you as well. Thank you for sharing your energy, your presence, and your wisdom in this co-creation.
Okay, great. So the first question is actually, so we have a phenomena called the three-eye atlas, which is supposed to be a comet. Some say it's an alien spaceship heading to Earth. Can you shed some light on what this object is and its purpose?
Sure. So, a few years ago, there was a report of an extraterrestrial object moving through your solar system. That extraterrestrial object, sometimes described as Oumuamua, operated and acted as a type of scout vehicle, and this three-eyed atlas, as you describe, represents a larger expression of the civilization the scout vehicle is associated with. We have described these technologies before. Many of these craft on the surface look like naturalistic celestial objects. But if you go beneath that surface, you will find incredibly sophisticated technologies and structures within. In a certain way, your moon is just like this. So, these beings that are revealing themselves at this time to your scientists and to your detection instruments have their hand in the engineering of your moon. So they are a very ancient civilization. They have a slight connection with the beings you understand as Anunnaki, and what you would describe as Anunnaki hybrids, where the humanoid form is blended with other types of genetics. So they are quite ancient. Their craft represent their ancient culture and the ancient nature of their genetics. And they are observing you at this time to see what you do. For it's almost as if there is a type of deadline. It's almost as if there's a type of countdown now that this object's been detected. So what you do between now and arrival has a great influence on what is to follow following the arrival. So there's more to be explored with this, and do keep in mind that behind all of our words, there are energies that represent the underlying nature of things. We encourage you to use our words as a door. Go into the world of energy and begin to access this timeline we are describing yourself, and this will operate and will function as a form of subtle contact, so you can understand more about the nature of things before these types of happenings fully manifest.
Wonderful, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Up next, can you speak on the very first incarnation cycle that took place on Earth 2.4 billion years ago?
The very first incarnation cycle was actually a densification cycle. So, luminous humanoid energy beings from the astral plane, relevant to the many planets of the solar system, made their way to Earth as a natural expression of the evolutionary process. So, these luminous beings went through the planetary experiences of the solar system like a training program, like a school, incarnating on one world, graduating, and then incarnating on another. Earth represents the final stop in that process. It's the final class. So these original beings began on Earth as light beings. They were able to interact with the elemental energies as luminous beings. They could affect the light matrix of physical reality, and they could do this on the elemental level. So think of beings being able to move the water with their hand, or guide the wind with their thoughts, or a being whom could erect mountains simply by making fists and bringing their arms up. These are the types of qualities these beings possessed. And they literally terraformed the planet. They made the Earth what it is. They helped to sculpt the Earth away from chaotic expressions into expressions that were more supportive for collective terrestrial forms of life. So these were the very first species, and over time they became like the Earth that they had engendered. They began to densify. More species were introduced after. They acted as origin point ancestral mentors for the novel species that were created. This was a time where the communication network amongst Earthlings was not lost. So all of the animals, all of the forms of life were able to very consciously and directly listen to the teachings, to the wisdom, to the energies of these original peoples whom had sculpted and molded the earth. They also sculpted and molded species. Having control of the elements also allowed for them to explore elemental manipulation on the most macro of levels and the most micro of levels. On the most micro levels, you think of this as the nucleotides that are related to the expression of the genome, being able to arrange this in particular ways, thus giving rise to different forms of consciousness and body. So these are the originals. They are still here.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Up next, can you speak on the origins of sugar on this planet, its relevance, and why is it so addicting to humans?
Sugar is somewhat addictive in its natural state because it symbolizes the sweetness of life, the sweetness of the earth experience, and in a certain psychological sense, the sweetness of the mother. So as beings grow and develop, they become more independent. They move further away, oftentimes from the family unit, as they accumulate greater levels of freedom. And this is in the human world. It's also in the animal world at times, too. So when the sweet flavor is taken in, it stimulates all of those connections. So it tends to be a nostalgia activator across many species. It also creates a sense of satiety and safety temporarily. Too much sugar, of course, the satiety will flip into hunger. But when one is really appreciating the taste of something sweet, if they pay attention to it meditatively, the energy of total satisfaction is actually summoned forth. So when individuals eat something sweet, their body is associating it with the springtime, when the fruit trees bear the fruit. And springtime is a time where conditions are very beautiful. They're warm. Earth is a little bit more like heaven. So when an individual has sweet, all of those associations, all of those correspondences are activated. Now, when sugar is removed from its natural state and it is refined and it is added to other unnatural things, chemical ingredients, so on and so forth, synthetic ingredients, so on and so forth. When this happens, now those very powerful associations are being mixed with the dopamine pathways. They are being mixed with the reward pathways. They are being mixed with what you describe as the limbic system associated with your reptilian brain. So when the sugar is modified and blended in these ways, the body's own biology relevant to primal need and addictive repeated behaviors, all of that becomes entangled. Sugar on its own, in its natural state, it just activates the nostalgic connections. Too much of it can lead to some weight gain. It could lead to some hormonal imbalance, but in its natural state as fruit, it is relatively fine to consume because you must remember that the sugar in fruit does not exist as a singular compound. It's an ingredient within a family of naturalistic compounds, and the fruit can operate as a type of medicine that creates a healing effect in the body through what is described as the entourage effect, and the sugar can operate as one of those ingredients. The sugars can also assist in the digesting of things, the consumption of things that would otherwise be a little off-putting. Imagine honey with no sweetness, would not be eaten. Imagine fruit with no sweetness, would not be eaten, at least not by many. So the sugar acts as a motivator to consume. And in that way, the foods of the planet are extensions of the Great Mother. They are offerings of the Great Mother. So this is why foods that have sugars also trigger those maternal associations and the associations with childhood.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Up next, so recently in our culture, there seems to have been this phenomena where young people on TikTok say they are shifting to fictional parallel universes, such as Hogwarts or Disney universes. Can you speak on what is happening and how this came into the collective consciousness?
Well, they're talking about what you would describe as astral projection, and they're doing it through the lens of what is sometimes in your new age called chaos magic. So they are opening a portal within their minds that takes them to a fictional universe. But because it's a multiverse and because all things exist, a fictional universe also has its own parallel reality, its own existence, if you will, outside of what you see on just the television screen or the storybook. There are worlds beyond those expressions that represent the underlying spirit or underlying nature of that particular fictitious universe. So there are genuine parallel realities that reflect these worlds. These people are opening doorways to these realities. Obviously, they didn't shift all the way, otherwise, they wouldn't have returned to make the video on TikTok talking about how they shifted. So it's not a permanent shifting, it's an astral projection. And that can be incredibly vivid if experienced in a meditational way, and it can be incredibly physical, if not almost completely physical, if it is done whilst in the sleep state. And it's genuinely like having another life in another reality. And within 8 hours of sleep, lifetimes can be lived. With fictional universes, sometimes the energy access is actually stronger because it is collectively energized by your collective imagination as it currently expresses in your society. So even if something's total fiction, you can access its underlying dimension. And if it is a fictitious world that is currently very exciting, a relevant world for your culture, for your people, it will be all the easier to access that world.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Up next, can you speak on some of the technologies we will get once there's open contact with ETs?
One of them will be what you describe as medbed-like technologies. I know these have been talked about quite a bit. Nevertheless, these things will be introduced. It will involve what you describe as PEMF frequencies. It will involve crystalline technologies. It will also involve different types of personalized body scannings and algorithmic AI assessments of the condition of the subject. All of this will be factored in. So hyper-specific frequencies are broadcast into the system that create the precise healing effects that are needed. So these types of technologies will be introduced. In addition to this, energy generation systems that do not have environmental destructive consequences will be introduced. And this will also turn into not just energy generation on your world, it will also be something that extends into your vehicular technologies, both the vehicles that fly in the sky and the vehicles that sail in the oceans and the vehicles that drive on your roads. There will also be a increase in the architectural understandings, the mathematical understandings. This will revolutionize your technologies. It will revolutionize many of your industries, your way of doing things. Remember, your reality in a certain way is based off of mathematics, in that your reality is based upon language, and all letters are numbers. So everything is a mathematic equation. You have discovered certain expressions of mathematics. You have not discovered all of them. So higher expressions of mathematics and geometry will be shared with you, and this will give your species entirely new ways of perceiving reality, interfacing with reality. It will also shift what you are capable of in the fields of your sciences, your technologies, and also even things like social organization. For all of these things can be experienced as an expression of mathematics, an expression of language. And the more fluent you are in both, as you know, the more creative you can become. So think of how different your world was in the 1800s compared to now. Very different. Almost like two different planets. It's going to be beyond that in terms of the changes. So present you can't fully perceive all of it, just as the caterpillar can't completely conceive of the butterfly. It might have the dream of the butterfly, the impulse of the butterfly. It might be communing with the spirit of the butterfly, but it won't know the butterfly all the way until it is there. It won't know the joys of flight until it's become that butterfly. So it is like this.
Okay, and then a follow-up question to that is, will this include anti-aging technology for the humans?
Certainly, yes. The med beds are an extension of this. It's not just what you would describe as the treatment of pathological states, but it's also longevity based, repairing certain things that would otherwise blossom into greater imbalances. So this will function as longevity technology. It will be able to go all the way to the genetic level, able to repair what you call the telomeres. So it will help the DNA remain intact. All of this and more will be introduced because the telomeres vibrate at a certain frequency. So there is a vibrational frequency of the telomeres that represent healthy telomeres, and there are discordant variations of that. So through introducing the frequency of the structured, healthful telomeres, the physical telomeres of the body begin to experience what is called vibrational entrainment, where they begin to restructure their underlying energies to match the healthful frequencies that are being introduced. So yes, these things are a part of it.
Okay, I'm sure that will make a lot of people very happy.
Oh, yes. Beyond happy, it will remind you once more of your vitality. Imagine your days without bodily issues, without fatigue, without brain fog. Imagine a day where it's as if you are almost limitless. So, happiness will be the front door, if you will, to an entire world of possibility.
Okay, great, exciting. Up next, can you speak to us on how to work with insect consciousness?
The first thing to keep in mind is it's very different than human consciousness. Insect consciousness usually functions as a type of hive collective mind. So many of the insects see themselves as an extension of a type of mother organism. Similar to how the bees of a beehive act as the workers or the drones for the queen bee. Insect consciousness is like this. As you know, there are many spiritual beings that oversee the different types of species that exist. In general, the types of beings that oversee insect consciousness tend to be yin in nature. These are beings that embody some of the primal themes: birthing, creating life, consumption, the breaking down of that which has become corrupted and rotted, the transformation of darkness and density into life and light. These types of primal and primordial themes. These are the themes that organize many of the spiritual beings that oversee the various insect kingdoms. And because these are primordial themes, there's also an association here with longevity, that which endures, in that the in that the insects have a regular seasonal type of life cycle, many of them. So these types of beings also possess extraterrestrial connections, and the extraterrestrial expressions of the insect beings are also quite ancient, many of them as old as the universe itself. So they are very ancient insectoid species. The insectoid beings, on a cosmic level, have a much higher level of intelligence than the insects that exist on Earth. The spiritual beings associated with cosmic insectoids have a much different focus than the ones that oversee the insects of the Earth. Some of those primal themes are still there. And there was a time where the universe was a little barbaric, where the forms of consciousness that expressed within it were quite primal, but those beings evolved. And now, ironically, different forms of species that used to engage in warfare and acts of brutality now act as the spirit guides for many worlds because they've evolved past it, and they're helping other worlds to do the same. Hence the Mantis intervention in the Grey Federation's civilization and their assistance within the Grey hybridization program.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Up next, can you speak on what the process of absorbing minerals and vitamins looks like without actually having to consume them in physical form?
The idea is that there is energy that underlies all manifestations. So that means the vitamins and the minerals that are a part of your foodstuffs, these are just different arrangements of underlying elemental energy. So through accessing the elemental layers of your aura, you can actually create geometries of energy that will stimulate the same receptor sites in the body that would be stimulated if you were to consume vitamins and minerals. So this type of focus requires a level of skillfulness. Person must have a certain level of mastery over their energy field. They must know how to work with the energy. But imagine creating an environment around you, like a whole ecosystem before you, deserts with beautiful fruit-bearing cacti, powerful red rocks. Behind you, tremendous oceans filled with primordial waters of life. To the left, ancient forests, and to the right, primordial mountains filled with minerals and gemstones. And then imagine gathering these elements from these environments as swirling rainbow light, and then gathering this energy and forming it into a pill, an energy pill that could fit within the palm of your hands, and then speak into this the sacred ancient words that represent life force, vitality, nutrition, mineralization, nutrification, tonification. Put these power words in to the rainbow pill that you are visualizing and are actually holding within your hands. And then once that pill is filled with the energy, swallow it. Gulp it down. Aim to produce a belch with the gulp. This is going to transform the energy into a quasi-physical expression. It's going to create a densified effect upon the system. So it's going to be more physical. So inhale the pill, the energy pill through the mouth, gulp it down, and belch. So the idea is to tuck the chin and let the gulp be a little forceful, the swallow be forceful, and that's going to stimulate the release of the gas. That translates as the transformation of the energy. So this is known as Pigu in the immortal practices. These types of things are practiced in ancient China. They're practiced in Tibet. So these are high-level things. Usually the practitioner weans off of food. So do not hurt yourself by attempting to go breatharian before you're ready. Remember that people have harmed themselves through doing that. People have died from doing that. So please be responsible with your lifestyle and any type of fasting or breatharian practices that you engage in. Please be very cautious and work with a doctor or some medical professional who specializes in those things. That is our suggestion here, but that's one of the ways it can be done. And this can also be a way to reduce hunger. If you find you have an excessive appetite, you're always eating, always hungry, try just consuming the energy. Visualize the environment, gather the environment as rainbow light, make the energy pill and swallow it. And you'll find you have more energy, you're less hungry, and greater mental clarity is available to you.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Up next, can you speak on birds such as ravens and crows and sort of what their worlds are like and how they interact with us?
They are able to ascend into shadow dimensions with great ease. And one of their unique abilities is they are able to access the shadow dimension that is relevant across all of the different densities within existence. Remember, the birds, the ravens, the crows, they are like you. They dream. And when they dream, their astral projections are literally out of this world. If you think your lucid dreams are crazy, imagine what a bird's lucid dream is like, where it's able to fly beyond the sky. This is what the ravens and the crows have access to. They are able to fly into the black hole portal within the center of stars, so they can explore the shadow realms on the highest of the highs and on the lowest of the low. They are also able to interact with the polarity of existence regularly. So, within every star, there is a dot of yin, a black hole. And in the heart of matter, in the heart of the earth, there is the star, the white hole. So, both of these things exist at all times. To humans, it's a concept, it's a poetic, you could say, description of nature. But to the crow, these are worlds they experience. To the raven, these are worlds they experience. So they're able to access both of these realms. They're also able to do that spiritually with beings. So they're able to fly into the black hole portal within the center of your star, your soul, and they are able to act as messengers, accessing you while you're in the dream state, delivering messages. Because they are able to explore the extremes, they oftentimes will show up in the presence of powerful energy. They are also likely to show up when there is going to be a powerful transition, when yin is going to flip into yang, or when yang is going to flip into yin. And this is why they are sometimes seen as negative omens. Not always. Remember, ravens are associated with the god Odin. There are also associations with certain solar deities in the Grecian and Roman pantheons. So you will find that ravens and crows have both a shadow and light connection, and this is because they can easily explore both. Remember, black absorbs all the other colors, takes in everything. It becomes one with everything, so it can access whatever is needed.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Up next, why is it that some people get sudden abilities by accident, such as lightning strikes and such?
All right. As many of you have heard, there are instances where an individual goes through an experience that they consider to be a near-death experience or a close call. And for whatever reason, they remain. They stay. And their whole life is different. Their whole life changes. Many of these people who go through these powerful events, a head injury, being struck by lightning, and there's a powerful personality change, or they gain a skill, or they have an enlightening experience. This happens because there's a version of them that actually died from that experience. However, there's infinite versions of them. That powerful synchronicity, whatever it might have been, the injury or the lightning strike, that powerful energy acts as a type of bridge between the two parallel selves, the one whom has chosen to go into spirit and the one who chooses to remain. The one that goes into spirit is able to access the soul blueprint. They're able to go beyond that to the spirit blueprint. They can go even beyond that to the oversoul blueprints, where the blueprints for all the spiritual archetypes are held. And that is then communicated to the parallel version of the person whom did not die, but who had the close call. And this translates as them having enlightening experiences, or they gain a skill, or they have an entirely new outlook on life. This is one of the reasons why that can happen.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Up
We will
next.
take a final question.
Okay, great. Can you speak on the very first hybrid that the Grays created, please?
This is a very beautiful question. There is much to be said about this. The first hybrid that was created did not make it, but the soul of that being was a soul that all of the gray beings were telepathically linked with. It was a member of their own society who volunteered to let go of their gray body and to incarnate into the hybrid form. But the hybrid form was unable to support them fully. The genetics weren't stable. So they kept trying, becoming more and more skillful with each attempt. And this same soul kept volunteering itself again and again and again until there was finally a form that could hold it. This is why we say it was beautiful, because it was a moment where the Greys really rekindled their empathy. They got to see one of their own make a sacrifice for the all. And this was something that had not really been attempted before. Before this, it was just cloning. This was the creation of a new body and the transference of consciousness. The mantis beings eventually were brought in to assist in the deepening of the understandings of the genetics. But the mantis beings saw the sacrifice that this being had made, and they were completely touched by it. They were moved very deeply by it. So they began to intervene. And they did so in a benevolent way, sharing greater understanding so more secure and stabilized body types could be made. So the very first hybrids did not function healthfully. The very first hybrids represent one soul dedicating itself again and again and again to the engineering of an entire species.
That's beautiful. Thank you. So I think those are all the questions for today.
Very good. We thank you all for sharing your questions with us. As many of you are aware, this is new information, and we encourage you to reflect upon these sharings in whatever ways represent your passion, your joy. Remember, as you reflect upon the information, the source of the information reflects upon you, and the subject and the observer in that way become one. A portal is opened, and even more energy, even more realization, and even more contact is made manifest for you, before you, through you, and with you. We thank you for this exciting interaction we have co-created with one another this day in this way. Our unconditional love to you all now and forever. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for your awesome questions. That was a lot of fun. And Starshine, great job with the question selection and the really fun energy that you use to choose those questions and to present them. We love it. And what an amazing time.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for all your questions. They were great as always. And yeah, can't wait to pick it up again next week.
Absolutely. We will see you guys this Sunday for the Lion's Eye in the Sky transmission. I'll see some of y'all on Monday for the Patreon Q&A, and then we'll see you back here the following Friday for the YouTube live stream. Have a great day, everybody.